Isaiah chapter 32 and verse 2. And a man shall be as a hiding place from the wind, and a covert from the tempest, as rivers of water in a dry place, as the shadow of a great rock in a weary land. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushua, Bahashem Rakakadash, for blessing me with the spirit to do this lesson. So I've heard different seen and heard different videos about Isaiah 4:1. Where you have certain Israelites thinking that the men of the Lord just want more than one woman. They just want to freak off. They just want to have a litter of women. But besides the obvious of a man, having more than one woman, and the low level of intelligence that most of these Israelites have toward that prophecy about it only being sexual and physical or whatever, it's way deeper than that. It's way deeper than that. Because for one, those men, it's a survival thing. It's the Lord putting that hedge of protection around certain men. It's a different it's a different time in life. It's a more serious and more vicious time, in life, in the world. So it's not just about what people put it out there to be. It's more about survival and protection. And it's not going to be because a woman looks a certain way and has certain assets, I would say that she's going to get picked. It's going to be about what you can bring to that man. How can you help him? How can you, help his how do I say it? How do you help his circle? That term, what can you bring to the table? That's going to be a real thing. And if women can't do that, they're going to be stuck out there to deal with, what's out there. And there's nothing nice out there. So it's way deeper than, what was put out there to be. A lot of things is happening in the earth, and what this dude is going to speak on has to do with this war. So Isaiah 4:1 is prophecy, and it's going to happen. And a lot of you women who get on these videos and scoff and say this is why they want it and this is why they need it and this is why they're looking forward to it and all that. You big mouth, as women, you're gonna get left, man. And then you're gonna want to be a pick me in that day. So let's listen in, man. Yahweh Shem Yahushua willing, the elect be edified. Shalom.
I have to tell you guys about a dream that I had a long time ago because I feel like it's about to happen. So basically, how it started was I was in a vehicle and I was driving around the city that I live in, and it was completely dark. The vehicle that I was in was like my real car, a small sedan, blue, right? So I'm in this vehicle driving around, and I get to my aunt's house. She lives in the nice side of town. And the moon's full. It's not really windy night, but it's just completely pitch black, dark out, right? So I walk up to my aunt's house and I knock on the door and I look around and I realize that there's literally nobody here. And as I'm walking down the sidewalk, I realize that I'm literally the only guy in the city. And I don't know how, but somehow it was communicated to me by God telepathically, not a literal voice in the dream, that some major war had popped off and that there was no men in the city, right? So as I get told this telepathically, I head back to my car. And when I'm in my car, I'm holding a baby. And while I'm holding this baby, I look over and this girl that I know that's in the army appears in the driver's seat. And she's holding a baby as well. And I don't know if that was God showing me that this has to do with war, because I don't really think that this girl was, specifically means that she was going to stay behind with me. I think it was more symbolic because she was in her uniform. And me and this girl were driving around the entire city holding these babies, realizing that we had a big burden to take care of these babies and that there was no men left in the town. And somehow I had the privilege of not being sent off to war, but that meant that I had this huge responsibility to take care of these babies. And this girl that was with me was completely silent. She wasn't speaking like she normally does. She wasn't talkative. She was stern and she was firm. And remember, she was in her uniform. So fast forward, and I forget about this dream, right? Well, today, my cousin, who is a huge Roblox nerd and really doesn't care about the kind of stuff, this kind of content, doesn't really watch like apocalypse, end of the world movies. He just cares about Roblox, right? And he designs software and all this. Anyways, he tells me that he has this dream where he sees me in the city that I'm in. Mind you, he lives in Omaha. I'm in a different city. He says that he sees me and we're standing outside of this care center, which is like a boys and girls home or a Critton center, which is basically a school for troubled kids, right? And he says that we're standing there, and then these guys that are overweight come with, you know what, boomsticks, and they try to attack us. Well, he says that me and him are standing there fighting them, and somehow they're chasing us, but I think he said that we get their boomsticks away from those guys, and we end up winning this engagement, right? Well, he says that as we're running down the streets, he notices that he sees our family and that there's literally no men in the family left, and that there's no men left to protect the women. There's no men left to protect the kids, the girls, nothing. And that it's just me and him. And as soon as I heard that, I instantly thought of the dream that I just told you guys about. And the reason that I'm telling you this, guys, is because I don't know why, but I feel it in my spirit that they are about to pull a draft over the entire United States when this war with Iran kicks off. You have literally seen nothing, bro. And I'm telling you that I genuinely believe that a draft is coming. Whatever happens, do not believe their lies and do not sign up to fight these wars, guys.
And yes, and the men of the Lord have been telling you this for the longest, man. You know, in this society, what you've seen, that's a lot here for the background noise. There's always some goddamn noise going on over here. But what what you see on social media quite often is the battle of the sexes, right? The gender battles, right? Where you have these women saying that they don't need a man, and the country would be better without men. They're gonna have to, stand on that soon, real soon, man. Because without men, there's no protection for women. Meaning, you know, good men. We're not saying no men. We're talking about men that, you know, well, in this society, they would figure a man with a lot of assets, money, businesses, things of that sort. Those are the men that they need to get under. But you know, it's going to come to a time where, and very soon, where the men of the Lord is going to be the men that are going to be, fine gold, right? Right? Those are going to be the men that every woman wants. Why? Because they're going to be stable. The Lord is going to put a hedge of protection over them, and they're going to have that wisdom and knowledge, to be stable in these last days, because it's gonna get chaotic, man. And you see this picture on the screen. You have, and it's mainly, well, all of them so-called white women, but you're gonna have every woman under the planet that's going to look for and need men, and all of that I don't need a man is gonna go out the window. It's gonna go out the window, man. So let me read this again. This is Isaiah chapter 32 and 2. It says, "And a man shall be as a hiding place from the wind." So like this dude, he said that, he was driving around in his car, and all of a sudden two women with babies appeared up in his car, and there were no men left in the city. Right? So it's like that's going to be, man. That's going to happen. And when women actually see men, they're gonna go crazy. You're gonna have to pretty much pull them off of you with a stick, man, because they're gonna need that protection. Because this world ain't gonna be nice, man. You see it in many movies, man. One particular, the Book of Eli with Denzel Washington, how the woman wanted to stay up under him because she knew she could be protected by him. Uh, you you had the road. Um, you had there were plenty of movies. I can't think of them off the top of my head right now, but there were plenty of movies where that was the case. But a man is going to be a hiding place from the wind, and it's not any man; it's the man of the Lord. It says, and a covert from the tempest. The tempest is a destruction, right? Meaning a protection from the destruction. It says, as rivers of water in a dry place, as the shadow of a great rock in a weary land. So you know how you'll be, take for instance, in the desert, and you see a river, and you see the river, you know, it'll that would be pretty much that would be a sort of uh relief, right? Because you'll have water to drink. You may have been dying of thirst for 3 4 days, and you see that river. Now you can drink, man. Now it's a sign of relief. That's how a man is going to be in these last days. It says, and as a great rock in a weary land, right? It's going to be as a shadow of a great rock in the weary land. You know how when you're out in the sun all day, you look for shade. That rock is going to be the shade, the thing to keep you cool in a chaotic place, a, a a weary land, meaning a place that is dry, that is nothing there. So you need some kind of covering. That's the rock. Who's our rock? Yahweh Shah, man. And who's gonna be the rock for a lot of these women? The man. So these women, man, they don't know what they be saying a lot of the time. They full of shit, man. Let's get Second Esdras. All right, Second Esdras chapter 16 and verse 33. Because he says something about the draft, and it is going to be a draft. It's going to be a draft, man. This is Second Esdras 16 and verse 33. And it reads, the virgin shall mourn, having no bridegrooms, and women shall mourn, having no husbands. Their daughters shall mourn, having no helpers. In the wars shall their bridegrooms be destroyed, and their husbands shall perish of famine, man. So it's going to be a shortage of men. There's already a shortage, where you got a lot of these men that are not real men, that are in the closet, right, that are off to war, that are dying in wars. But that's going to increase, right? That's going to increase quickly, right? So you have, a shortage of men that are real men, right? And right now, women they don't accept real men. They don't accept masculinity, man. They want to be the masculine ones. They'll tell a man, in order for me to be in my feminine, you got to be in your masculine. But when the masculine man does come, these women buck up, man. But in that day, they're not going to buck up. Or if they do buck up, they're going to get left, right? So the point is, during these wars, you already had what? They said over 400 or 500 men have died in this war so far, man, right? So it's not a game. Let's get this last one. Isaiah, right? Chapter 4, verse 1. It says, in that day, 7 women shall take hold of one man, saying, we will eat our own bread and wear our own apparel. Only let us be called by thy name to take away our reproach. And these women just going to be around you just, for the protection, just to be in the presence of a man, right? Because regardless of what these fucking women say, man, they need a man, right? And they're gonna find that out, very quickly, because once this draft comes and men get drafted away or to fight this war, they're not coming back, man. Right? So, I'm gonna leave it there. Yahweh Shem Yahushua willing. The elect was edified. I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh. Bahashem Yahushua, Bahashem Rakakadash for blessing me with the spirit to do this lesson. Hey man, just watch how things unravel. The Lord is doing something very beautiful in these end times, man. To the next lesson, Shalom.